What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games. Today, I'm going to be showing off Zach Lesage's second place Welder box deck from the Oceania International Championships. Big props to Zach for an amazing finish. Let's take a look at the list. Pretty standard as far as Welder box decks are concerned. We've got Reshiram and Charizard as well as Heatran as your main 1-2 punch attackers, with Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff there for jumping. Balloon is a great addition, as well as Turtonator and Victini as the non-GX options. But we do have some really cool new inclusions from Sword and Shield in this list. We got Lucky Egg. 2 copies of Lucky Egg can allow you to fill your hand up to 7 when the Pokemon it is attached to gets knocked out, making it a lot easier to draw out of those reset stamp to low situations where maybe you need to hit a Welder and a couple of Fire Energy in order to pull off the game-winning play. Lucky Egg, fantastic for helping to make those plays a reality. And then also Victini V for the Spreading Flames attack. For just 1 colorless energy, you can attach up to 3 Fire Energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. So great for getting energy rebounded at the end of the game and also accelerated at the beginning of the game. Can be awesome for just placing energy on the board. You could sweep it up with Burning Road and use Heatran. You could also just place Fire Energy on the board to use Explosive Jet. A very consistent, very straightforward list, and that's what I love about this deck so much. Welder box, this fire deck is a deck that was very underestimated heading into the Oceania International Championships, and Zach's just showed how strong this deck can be, how consistent of a threat it could be in a field full of Zacian. This is definitely a top deck and a tier 1 meta contender. Absolutely. Let's take a look at some gameplay, see how the deck works in action. Welder box is definitely a deck that was underestimated heading into Oceania, but as we've seen, Fire is definitely a comfort zone play for Zach Lesage. He has been playing a lot of Fire decks at bigger events, not only Blacephalon-GX, he's been playing a lot of Reshiram too. So with these updates, I think that Fire has proven itself to be a real contender in this new Sword and Shield format. And, you know, even though you can't Welder on the first turn of the game going first, still a force to be reckoned with, especially with all of those Zacian decks running around Zacian. Many of them not playing. Oh, this is going to be a very good matchup for us. Morpeko, we've got Ninetales, we can gust things up. Of course, unless they play Stealthy Hood, I guess that could be somewhat problematic. But I think that, you know, for the most part, a lot of the Zacian decks were not playing Stealthy, or not Stealthy Hood, Metal Frying Pan. So Heatran was just able to hit for weakness all weekend, which is a really big deal since it's just so easy to get that Heatran up and running and can trade with the Zacians super easily. And then you've got Pokemon like Victini Prism Star able to take knockouts on Zacian. When they're wearing the Metal Frying Pan, it's much more difficult to make that play happen. So against this Morpeko deck, I really just want to get a Vulpix down. So let's go ahead and kick things off with a Vulpix and make sure that we do have Ninetales in the deck. We do. Then I'm going to Heat Factory, draw some cards that way, and hopefully just hit another Fire Energy. Yes, cool. So we can Welder next turn, and then we'll Stellar Wish 2. I don't think that there's anything that I'm super in love with discarding here, so we'll get this. I can grab Switch. That guarantees me a turn 2 attack. And then let's also get an energy down. I'd like to put an energy onto maybe Heatran or something like that, because I do anticipate that we're probably going to be getting in there with Heatran relatively quickly. The Turtonator's good. Everything in this hand is not great to discard, so we will just go here and go here. And then I'm just going to pass next turn. We'll see if I top deck something that I am more comfortable with discarding. But I like the Turtonator. I think Turtonator is good. You want to have that one-hit KO option in your deck. It's very strong for just in case your opponent is not able to knock out your Reshiram Charizard. Being able to pivot into Turtonator and take a huge knockout is a really big deal. You can see they've wasted no time getting their Lily's Polka Doll into play. And then usually this deck wants to just set up Morpeko. You use cards like Thunder Mountain Prism Star to make your attack cost less. You've got Tapu Koko Prism Star as well to bounce energy from the discard pile to your benched Morpeko. And then use Electro Wheel, dealing 150 damage and bouncing itself back to the bench, hiding behind the dolls. Now, obviously, this is one of the decks that has a great built-in option to be able to deal with any sort of doll control mess, because we've got the Infinite Gust with Ninetales, probably something that also is very strong for Zach throughout the course of the tournament, as there was a lot of Cincino Mill there. So we do have great options for Cincino Mill too, since we can Gust every single turn with our Ninetales. Now, this is an easy discard. We're just going to get rid of the Dedenne. Then I probably am not going to Heat Factory into 2 fire energies. The odds of that are not super high, but it's fine. We can just Welder. We're going to go in with the Heatran this turn, so it's not really a big deal. You can just bench that. Welder the 1 onto the Heatran. And then we did get 1 fire energy, which is cool. So we're just going to go here and play it safe. I'll Stellar Wish, switch. Got the Ninetales. Got another Quick Ball and a Lucky Egg. Cool. Put the Lucky Egg on the Heatran, and the Heatran is just going to do a little bit of work for us. So we'll also put the Escape Board there. Well, Escape Board should have gone on the Ninetales. It's cool, though. Got that, because that Absol is probably going to prevent any sort of free retreat action on the Jirachi. But maybe we get to knock out the Ninetales at some point, or knock out the Absol at some point, and then that becomes relevant. Put the turtle down and Day change. We've got a great hand here. I can actually Gust if I would like to. We can bring up the Morpeko or the Absol. I'm not going to worry about it yet, though. I'm just going to be content knocking out the active. I'm pretty comfortable just using Heat Factory too. It's fine. I got Fiery Flint in my hand. Tons of fire energy. Let's just Steaming Stomp the active Jirachi. And I can start slowly building up energy onto my Reshiram and Charizard. Next turn, if a Stealthy Hood doesn't make its way onto that Morpeko, we're going to use Ninetales, 9 Temptation. You know, bring up the Morpeko and Hopper and GX for 200 damage. So this deck also plays Morpeko VMAX. I did see the Morpeko VMAX hanging out in the deck. We're getting Marnie. That's fine. I didn't want to waste these Fiery Flints, so now they're just hanging out in the deck, which is fine. I can draw back into them later, which will be very good for us. Then I also have a Welder and a Switch off of this. I don't necessarily want to play the Switch into this Jirachi because the Absol is pretty much rendering it useless, but I am going to get to draw some more cards. I'm probably going to want to Welder first, just because we get the guaranteed draw for 1, rather than Heat Factory and hope I get 2 fires, especially since I know both of my Fiery Flints are on the bottom of my deck there. And I would be very surprised if my opponent doesn't, if I'm able to knock out the Morpeko, if my opponent doesn't just scoop it up. That feels really bad. And though I really wanted Morpeko to be a super valid deck in this new format, I feel like it's a lot of fun, but it does just get gusted out too hard. The dolls are, you know, a good strategy for a deck like Cincino Mill. And now we've got the double switch, so that's cool. I can Jirachi and potentially get some more stuff. So that actually does switch the order of my deck, so I like that. So we're going to have the, you know, possibility of being able to see one of the Fiery Flints now. So I could Heat Factory for 3, just hoping to hit one. I don't think that's so bad, but I don't need that many energy, so we could just Welder first. That kind of gives us, yeah, decent. We didn't get the Gust, so I could just go for it a little bit further. And we didn't get it again. So we are just going to be chilling here. No point in knocking out the Lily's Pokédoll. That just gives them access to Oricorio to draw more cards. So we're just going to get another energy on Heatran, pass with the Jirachi active. Just need to piece double fire together. I could Stellar Wish. If they don't, you know, bring out their Morpeko and actually take knockout this next turn, then we could Stellar Wish again. Maybe look for one of my Giant Hearths. I did have a Giant Hearth in a previous hand, but I left the Heat Factory in play. So that is also something that I could have done in order to give us more access to fire energy so that I could Gust this next turn. But it's cool. I'm interested to see where this game goes and who this guy turns into. If we're going to see that Morpeko V Max come slugging into play. Looks like, no, we've got another bench Morpeko, and that's fine. I think this is what they need to do, really build up multiple Morpeko at the same time. Trying to get a lightning energy on both. And they've got Copycat. Wow, a big Copycat there to really fill their hands. I've got, what, 8 cards in my hand? Nice play. 1 energy on both their Morpekos is going to mean that they can respond to a knockout, potentially. If I knock out one of them, they do have a backup Morpeko. However, if I'm able to stream knockouts on multiple Morpekos, or even that Oricorio GX hanging out on the bench, they're going to be having a pretty tough time. Now, it looks like they are bringing up one of my Pokemon GX, Reshiram Charizard. And just trying to stall with that in the active. I have multiple Switch in my hand, so we are good on that front, though. And I'm going to take this opportunity to just use 9 Temptations. So we're going to bring up one of the Morpekos. And then switch. I can switch it into Jirachi and switch again. So we're going to do that. Stellar Wish. We've got a Welder, no fire. It's fine, though. And then we could switch again. And Hopper and GX for 200 damage. Take the knockout on the Morpeko, and then just need some more fire energy to my hand. So maybe if they do take a knockout, I can Lucky Egg. No, I can't Lucky Egg. My hand is jam-packed right now. So, as is my bench. I don't really have any other options to draw cards. We're kind of just at the whim of whatever my opponent does. And having to waste a lot of switches with that Absol is definitely annoying. We would rather that not be the case. Island Challenge Amulet is going to decrease the liability that this Oricorio GX there is on the bench, which is good. I mean, that means it's going to be harder for me to win the game. I'm going to have to gust more to make it happen. It's no longer I just gust the Morpeko V and then the Oricorio for game, because that thing is no longer worth 2 prizes. So we'll see what they got cooked up. They're going to need a switch. They got Rosa, so they're going to pick whatever cards they want out of their deck, assuming that they're going to be able to get a hit with the Morpeko V. If they got a couple Electro Powers, they could take a knockout on the Heatran. Now, Victini V is an option for me as well. I get stuck in a weird spot. I can't always just go Pokemon Communication for the Victini V, load some energy up onto my Reshiram and Charizard, and pass it to my opponent, and then get going the next turn with Flare Strike. So that's something that we're thinking of too. Counter Gain is an interesting way to unlock Electro Wheel. You can do that if you're behind on prizes, which my opponent is, with the Morpeko V. Now, my biggest beef with Morpeko's Electric Wheel is that you have to keep bumping an energy back to your hand. And it makes it really hard to stream the Morpekos. If it was just a hit and run deck where you didn't have to keep returning the energy, then it would be much stronger in my opinion. But having to continuously find that energy is just really challenging. We have the double fire, but let's see, I've got a Welder too, so let's just go for that. I'm not going to just gust up anything because I already have a Jirachi in the active position, so no real reason to gust. Let's just go here. And we've got the Giant Hearth, so I do have more energy at this point. No switch, but let's see, how many switches am I down? All 4 switch. Unfortunate. It's cool I can take a knockout on the Jirachi, and then we'll gust up the Morpeko for game next turn. So let's just go with that. And I'm going to play this hand down as much as I can, see if, you know, maybe I can, at the very least, get some mileage out of this Lucky Egg potentially to draw me some more cards. I'm at 4, 5, 6. Just want to check. 6 plus 6. Okay, I think I am confident going here and there, and then we could Giant Hearth and get some more fire to my hand. 2, only 2 fire left in the deck. It's fine, and then Lucky Egg on the Turtonator, and we're just going to Steaming Stomp for knockout. I know they got the Thunder Mountain Prism Star in their hand, so long as no shenanigans happen with this Morpeko, I should just be able to gust and finish it off with Explosive Jet, even if I have to hard retreat this Heatran. should be able to make that all happen. What, I have to pay all 4? It's still fine. As long as that doesn't become a Morpeko VMAX, Turtonator can take the knockout with its 3 energy on board. And then, of course, I guess I don't have any option to switch this Heatran, though. So we're just kind of assuming that the Heatran is getting knocked out. Tapu Koko V, also a valid target for us. I don't want to have to retreat the Heatran. That just feels so bad. That thing's worth 2 prizes. Even if this does, you know, evolve into a Morpeko VMAX, which I don't necessarily have the energy to be able to take out, then, you know, we could always go for the Tapu Koko. Let's see, they're throwing the doll onto the bottom of the deck. Here comes Morpeko V, finally ready to Electric Wheel. And they have Volkner. We're going to get a couple of Electro Powers. Knock out the Heatran. Got the doll too. So they will pivot back into the doll. I do think that this deck does need some stealthy hoods too. That way you can protect your Pokemon from getting knocked out by the likes of Ninetales. Nine Temptation is very annoying for this deck to deal with. So we've got the 4th energy here, and I can just hard retreat. I should have the energy. My heart skipped a beat for a second. I was like, oh, wait, I don't have the energy to gust. But no, we're chilling. We've got this. And I can go get these energies and then just use 9 Temptations to bring them out. Show me the money. We want Tapu Koko V, and we Explosive Jet for 200 damage. And that's it. GG's to the Morpeko player, Dan05. We'll get one more game in with the Reshi deck. I guess it feels weird calling it Reshizard, considering there's only 1 copy of Reshiram and Charizard now in the deck. Firebox, Fire deck. Just call it the Welder box deck, I guess, which makes sense. It's kind of a Welder toolbox. We've got a lot of different one-of Pokemon that we can copy. Or not copy. A lot of different one-of Pokemon that we can charge up with the Welder engine. And I do think that we still want to go first in this deck, I believe. Just getting an energy onto Reshiram Charizard can be very good. Also getting your Vulpix down so we can go turn 2. Gust seems really strong. This is an amazing opening hand for us, and it looks like we might be playing a mirror. So let's see what we got here. Off Stellar Wish, nothing. That's cool, though. I'm still ready to go next turn with the potential attack from Reshizard. That being said, you know, it's not the same explosive start we would have gotten last format. I've got the Welder Double Fire. We would have just gone turn 1. 3 energy onto Reshizard. When looking at a Reshizard, it is, you know, that feels really good because we know that we can gust this thing down and maybe do 300 damage turn 2. It looks like we're playing a mirror match, so this should be pretty interesting. And I wonder if going second in the mirror match will favor my opponents. If they're able to find that Welder off of this day-to-day change, they are losing a Ninetales and the Pal Pad there, so only going to have access to the 4 Welders in this match. And do they get the double fire? Yes. So they could go turn 1 Outrage onto my Reshizard. Doubt that that's something that they want to do. They could also double Blaze GX. I think that would be kind of a gross waste of resources, or a gross waste of a GX attack to double Blaze GX the Jirachi. That feels really bad. Now, what's weird about this matchup is that Reshizard has a really hard time knocking out Reshizard. You can't just Outrage and then Flare Strike. We're at 260 there. So we are just a little bit off in this mirror match. It looks like my opponent might opt to just hang out with that Reshizard on their bench, which I think makes a lot of sense, rather than just throwing it into the active position. And they're just going to leave my Jirachi be. So both of us are going to be jockeying for position here. And now I've got a Quick Ball, so I can lead with something that is not a Reshizard, which I think is a good position for me to be in. If I put up the Reshizard, they could just go Welder Double Fire and take the knockout. So start out by using Quick Ball. I've got the Giant Hearth, so I am going to be putting that into play. And let's get ourselves a Pokemon who we don't mind leading with, like Heatran. I could also go Victini V and just charge a ton of energy into play. Or I could go Vulpix. I think Heatran is probably fine. 3 energy on the Heatran. But then if they knock me out, it's just like... I feel like we might just want to sit back and just play the wait and see game. And just hope that it buffs out for us. They did have to discard a Ninetales. Just going to go here, get these. And we're going to welder some energies onto the Reshi. And I think we're just going to hope that they don't have the Ninetales Gust. They have a relatively small hand. So they might not have every piece that they need. We can just get a ton of energy out of the deck with that. Fiery Flint too. And might just be a Stellar Wish and chill situation. Unfortunate though, because I don't actually have what I need to take a knockout next turn. So I kind of need this Stellar Wish to stay, which means that I can't really retreat into Vulpix. I can't really retreat into Reshi. I could Flare Strike. That feels bad. But it might just be what I have. Because leaving the Jirachi like active also is horrible. But that way, if they just... Well, I think I'm just going to... I'm going to chill. All right, we're going to see what we got. I don't think that they are going to bring up the Reshi. If they bring up anything but the Reshi, if they bring up, like, you know, Heatran or something, I can knock the Heatran out. Knocking out the Jirachi could have just left them in a dead hand, though. So that could have been good for me. I could have caught them slipping in that way. If maybe they didn't have a Dedenne or a supporter or something like that. But it looks like they are just going to be juicing up their hand. They've got Giant Hearth. They've got Fiery Flint. A ton of fire energy. And I'm thinking that that is all their hand is. They don't have really anything else going on. Oh, they have the Welder too. So now they just need the Pokemon Communication and the Pokemon and the Ninetales in order to take a big knockout on my Reshiram. And that's would be game. I would be pretty comfortable with saying that's game if they got it. Do they have it? Oh my goodness. Have mercy. We got a quick ball. So they can data change and dig for it. But I know they did just dig a ton of energy out of their deck as well. So they might not find the double fire. They've already Giant Hearth. They've already wasted both of their Fiery Flints too. So they might not find the Gust. And I highly doubt that they are going to bring up a 6 energy Reshiram into the active when I've got a 5-card hand just to knock out my Jirachi. Now this Heat Factory is an absolute godsend for me. So that is amazing. The Vitality Band. Ooh, the spice. That's insane. The Vitality Band can actually fix some of the math in this matchup. You can Outrage and then Flare Strike a Reshiram, and they don't have it. So now the ball's back in my court, and we have it. No, we might have it, but maybe we do. We need to, we got the Ninetales. I need the Heat Factory. I just need to find a Welder. That's it. And there it is. Now we should have it. Don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but I do need an extra fire energy here, which we don't have yet. So let's, we need to piece together 2 fire energy. Should be fine. With the Reshiram and Charizard here, they've got 3 Pokemon GX. I don't think the Mega Lopunny is going to be that big of a deal. I want to knock out that, then I want to knock out like a Dedenne and the Victini. That will be game. So let's Pokemon Communication, see if we can just get ourselves any other Pokemon that's going to be meaningful. I think at this point, the Turtonator is also good. So let's get the Turtonator out. The Heatran seems less good. I am just going for Heatran just does 130 days. Good at like knocking out Jirachis and stuff. So that's fine. We could put the escape board there. And we're just going to data change, looking for 2 fire energy. And we've got the Giant Hearth. So we're in there. Great, we could do this. Get rid of the Mega Lopunny. 2 fire energy from the deck. And this should be game. Yes, they know what it is. We got there with the double blaze. Oh, Reshi mirrors. I mean, what's not to love about a Reshiram and Charizard mirror? And I expect we're going to be seeing a lot more of them now that Zach finished second place at the Oceania International Championships, only losing to Nico Alabas with his Welder Mewtwo deck. So, story of Oceania, definitely all about the Welder decks. Welder decks showing to be just as relevant as they've ever been here in our standard format with Sword and Shield. So, big props to Zach again for an amazing finish. And if you're a fan of Reshizard, now is your time. Reshizard decks are all over the ladder. I played against that one. I played against another one when I was trying to film this video. So definitely a lot of Reshi mirrors right now. This deck is hot. So pick it up, give it a try. Definitely recommend it. The deck is very fluid, and I think the Lucky Eggs are a very cool addition to the archetype in general. Thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel, ring that bell. Really, sub to the channel. Just drop us a sub. We're almost at 50K subs. That would be excellent. Also, make sure to check out twitch.tv/TrickyJim, where I stream Pokemon trading card game content every single weekday. We've got a great community over there on Twitch, and it's a ton of fun, so definitely recommend that as well. Also, make sure to check out fullgripcodes.com for instant PTCGO code delivery. Instant, literally right away. We've got all the newest standard Pokemon trading card game online codes for sale, as well as some really cool old codes, Black and White, X and Y, so on and so forth, to build your online accounts. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Take it easy. Peace.